Till now, we talked about the physical aspect of the disease and to understand specifically on the body, the nutrition, but we didn't talk about lifestyle, and we didn't talk about the mental aspect of autoimmunity in general, or what is triggering enough on the mental aspect. We talked a little bit about stress, but we talked about the outcome of the stress. But we didn't talk about how we can managing our stress. So the first thing that I would like to think about is when we talked about things that we have to clean, like the environmental factors that we talked about, like chemicals and radiation and toxic mold, etc. You have to think about the personal relationships that exist in your life and to take care of it some kind of environmental factors. For example, maybe you have some kind of toxic relationships in your life. It can be also from people who are very close to you and love you, but something in the relationship is not precise for you. And for that reason, even unconsciously, you're living in some kind of environment that doesn't support you. And all the time, you're in some kind of stress. You're not at ease. You're not comfortable. You're not really feeling yourself. This is a very, very important thing is that you have to recreating the environment of the people around you that is supporting you and love you in the way that you need to be loved and not in the way that you're being educated on how you're supposed to be loved. This is a very, very profound thing that you have to check it with yourself really, really deeply. So you can think about relationships, you can think about where you work in the environment, and also another thing that is crucial in our day is social media and which kind of content, even on the entertainment level, you have to notice where you are around. And I don't talk about all the fake news because this is like a horrible outcome. But but beside of that, like see which kind of content do you choose to see, which kind of visual images. For example, I understand about myself that to see in action movies or very violent images, it's really triggering me profoundly. And by the time I understand when this kind of entertainment is not really relevant for me anymore, sorry, war. Um, though in my youth I like it very much to see action, pa 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 pa, and by the time I understood, I lived in a culture that is glorifying that, and I didn't know any other option. Now I'm creating my own culture in that sense. Another thing that I found not in such a long time ago, I discovered that this term or world of hypersensitive people because I learned about it because I discovered that my biggest beloved daughter, she's hypersensitive, also sensorically and also emotionally. And then when I answered the questionnaire for her, I understand that I'm hypersensitive also, and hey, also my dad is hypersensitive. And what I want to take a moment here, it's very, very important. At the beginning of the course, we talked about genetics and also the power of epigenetics, that if you're copying the behavioral patterns of your parents, for example, it's triggering your physical system, not only, of course, also the emotional, psychological aspect, but also on the physical. So it means that if, for example, you don't know how to manage your hypersensitivity, you probably go be very, very nervous because you're being triggered all the time because you're very sensitive to anything. Even from the reaction of someone, you take it very, very deeply, or if you see an image that is really disturbing, so you're going to react to that. So this is something you have to know how you are being triggered because this is your system and you want to take care of it. So you want to filter that as well. So it means what is the mental food that you are nourishing your system. This is a full course by itself that probably we're going to do that as well by the time. But for now, this is something just pay attention, which kind of mental food is around you that you are eating, absorbing, consuming, and you want to be much more active in that aspect. And it is much more difficult than ever in our world that we're being around screens and we're being all the time triggered by images and content and etc. and so forth. Pay attention to that. This is a major thing.